Hello, I'm Haley Perot. Thank you for joining us for TBT News Year in Review. Over the next hour, we'll recap the top local news stories of 2025. Back in January, the Thunder Bay Alstom plant got some much-needed good news as the Ford government announced a $500 million contract to refurbish older GO trains. Jessica Clement was there.
Ontario's Minister of Transportation, Prabmeet Sarkaria, stopped by Alstom Wednesday morning to announce an investment expected to support hundreds of manufacturing jobs in northwestern Ontario. He was joined by Thunder Bay Atikokan MPP Kevin Holland, Mayor Ken Boshkoff, and hundreds of Alstom workers.
Today, I'm proud to announce, on behalf of Premier Doug Ford, our government is investing nearly $500 million to upgrade 181 of GO Transit's bi-level coaches right here at the Alstom plant in Thunder Bay.
The GO train refurbishing contract will follow Alstom's current project for GO Transit, with this one starting sometime in 2026. Alstom Vice President Jose Whalen says is expected to support around 250 local jobs until 2031.
If you only have a little amount of cars, then you're not able to make that. But now that we've got that line of sight, and for our people, the great workers that have been working here in this plant, for them too, it gives them security, it gives them line of sight, it allows us to attract more talent if needed.
The refurbished bi-level coaches will be equipped with new seating, doors, flooring, walls, and ceilings, as well as upgraded washrooms, electrical outlets, and new HVAC control systems. Unifor Local 1075 President Justin Roberts says the announcement is a big win and allows workers to breathe a sigh of relief.
Without having anything officially on the books, our members do start to worry about the doors closing with the lack of work and contracts coming to an end. So having this contract come in is a nice reassurance that the doors are not going to close.
Jessica Clement, TBT News.
Ontario started the year with a rare winter election campaign. Doug Ford called the snap election on January 24th, and Vasilios Bellos caught up with our two local MPPs that day for their reaction.
After months of speculation, Ontarians are heading to the polls early.
This decision wasn't taken lightly by our caucus.
Thunder Bay Atikokan MPP Kevin Holland addressed the snap election call when making an announcement with Energy Minister Stephen Lecce. Holland agreed with the decision, believing it sets the province up best to challenge U.S. President Donald Trump, especially with a looming 25% tariff threat.
We know the president is volatile. He shoots from the hip, as they say, and we needed to ensure that we had a good, strong government in place for the full term of his presidency to deal with whatever may be coming forward.
It's going to cost the public millions of dollars that don't need to be spent right now.
Thunder Bay Superior North's new Democratic MPP Lise Vaugeois doesn't agree with the early election, calling it political opportunism.
He's been planning an early election since last spring. So, the Trump tariffs is just a new opportunity, really. And it's not in the public interest. He doesn't need to be doing this. That said, we're ready, and I'm certainly ready and prepared to fight for my seat.
In February, Thunder Bay hosted one of the biggest sporting events in the city's history. The 2025 Scotties Tournament of Hearts provided 10 days of big crowds and exciting curling at Fort William Gardens. Jonathan Wilson had this wrap-up report.
Team Canada, led by Rachel Homan, went undefeated for the second Scotties in a row. The sellout crowd and the 400 volunteers at the Gardens all showed their appreciation for the team that will now represent Canada at the World Championships in South Korea next month. The Tournament of Hearts definitely won the hearts of local and visiting curling fans, as attendance totaled over 54,000 over the 10 days, and local organizers couldn't be happier.
Curling Canada knew this was going to work here, and we really got slammed twice with COVID, right? So it's been a 5-year project, so we're really thrilled with that. Finally see this great crowd here tonight and the outcome. We had great support from the community for the last 10 days, so we're really proud of what we pulled off.
It was an incredible event. Shout out to all of our volunteers, everybody, our fans that showed up. This place was rocking as we hoped it would be, and it was just a fantastic event for the city of Thunder Bay.
It was amazingly run. From start to finish, the fans were phenomenal. They really had a great knowledge of curling. They were cheering everyone. It didn't matter who was out there. It was exciting for everyone to play here, and we felt really at home out here.
Yeah, it's been great. It was really nice to have a sold-out crowd for a final, and so much energy in here. And it's really nice. Just you feel all of that energy when you're out there, and it's been awesome. It's been a great experience.
The one downside was that the hometown McCarville rink failed to make the playoffs. But another curler born and raised in Thunder Bay did very well. Carly Everest, a member of Team Nova Scotia, won the bronze medal in her third time at the Scotties.
To be able to reach the podium means so much. I played here during the COVID Scotties. We also made playoffs that year as well. But it was our first Scotties, so it was a learning experience. So for this time to come back to a real Scotties, to be here, to take it all in, the crowd, I felt so at home because this is my home, and it meant everything. I had the best time.
It's a win-win-win all around. I know Tourism Thunder Bay is thrilled with the exposure that Thunder Bay had throughout this entire event.
Just on TSN and the great job that they did profiling our community to a national audience. I know I watched some at home, and it was just great to see Thunder Bay look so good. So I hope it's a boost for the community as well.
Emery and Lang say fans and volunteers are already asking, what's the next big event to try to attract to Thunder Bay? Jonathan Wilson, TBT News.
The provincial election was held on February 27th, with Doug Ford winning another majority and local MPP Kevin Holland retaining his seat. Jessica Clement had the story from election night.
I am incredibly excited to continue the work we have started, and I remain committed to working with you, for you. Here's to another 4 years of great things happening.
Provincial Conservative incumbent Kevin Holland is now a two-time winner in Thunder Bay Atikokan, claiming victory less than 30 minutes after the polls closed in Ontario. He earned over 13,700 votes. Judith Monteith-Farrell with the NDP finished well back, receiving just over 7,700 votes. Liberal candidate Stephen Marguerite wasn't far behind in third place, earning 7,300 votes. Holland says the win validates the work he has done in the past 2.5 years.
I think we've changed the needle on moved the needle on a lot of things here in Thunder Bay Atikokan on our priorities, and we're noticed. 108 ministers' visits in 2.5 years, $1.3 billion in investments. Those are pretty solid numbers that indicate we're being heard. So I'm really happy with that.
Monteith-Farrell, who represented Thunder Bay Atikokan as MPP from 2018 to 2022, was disappointed in Thursday night's results. She says the winter election made it harder to campaign and thinks if she had a couple more weeks, she could have turned the election around.
I think that our message was getting out there, and if we had had not such a short election, I think we would have had the opportunity to really educate the public. I just so enjoy the people of Thunder Bay and Atikokan. Great community, so many lovely people I got to chat with again and hear their concerns, and I hope this present government actually listens.
Holland says for his second term, he's going to continue prioritizing growing the area's economy and building a healthy community. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
Over in Thunder Bay Superior North, the NDP's Lise Vaugeois also retained her seat. Brendan Miller had that riding wrap-up.
We're here celebrating tonight that we've won this riding again.
The NDP's Lise Vaugeois has recaptured her seat for Thunder Bay Superior North during this snap provincial election. Though many thought this would be a tighter race between Vaugeois and PC candidate Rick Dumas, the NDP incumbent collected more than 11,000 votes. Dumas finished just under 2,000 votes behind with 9,300. The Liberals' Brian Hamilton finished a distant third with 5,800 votes. Now that she's won a second term on the opposition benches, Vaugeois says she's become more confident in her abilities at Queen's Park, and she's vowing to keep the PC government on a short leash.
I'm ready to go back to Queen's Park and represent Northwestern Ontario and stand strong, make sure that we are actually getting. We heard Doug Ford make a lot of promises tonight. I'm going to hold him to those promises. I'm a little surprised at them because these are things that he's actually not done over the last 7 years.
Dumas was gracious in defeat and says he's looking forward to resuming his duties as the mayor of Marathon. He feels the voters of Thunder Bay Superior North have made their choice in re-electing Vaugeois, and he wants to work with the NDP member to help find the best for constituents in the riding.
At the end of the day, people spoke in Thunder Bay and they wanted to continue working with Lise Vigeois, and I'll work with Lise as well as my MPP. I'll make sure that she's very recognized within the arguments that we need in Thunder Bay Superior North. That's the key. Make sure our voice gets to Queen's Park.
With the election wrapped up, Vigeois now looks forward as to how the NDP can make a difference at Queen's Park and around the province as a whole. Brendan Miller, TBT News.
In March, the federal and provincial governments pledged up to $240 million for a proposed lithium refinery on Mission Island. Frontier Lithium CEO Trevor Walker spoke with TBT News and called it a great project for his company, the city, and the region.
Real win yesterday for Northern Ontario. It's support that's obviously is conditional, and there's still lots of work to get done, but great vote of confidence from both levels of government for sure.
With $120 million in federal funding conditionally secured and another over $120 million in provincial support under negotiation, Frontier Lithium was gaining confidence in its plan. The lithium conversion plant has an estimated price tag of nearly $700 million. The company purchased the former OPG property on Mission Island for $3.3 million, setting the stage for what would be Ontario's first ever lithium refinery. Walker says if all goes according to plan, the facility could be up and running by 2030, but there's still plenty of work to be done before it becomes a reality.
We're close to pulling the trigger on some definitive feasibility work that's required to support much of the information that's required to turn support and intent into reality and term sheets. So we expect that to take 12, maximum 18 months.
The plant would process lithium mined at Frontier's Pack deposit located north of Red Lake. Once the refinery is up and running, it's expected to bring over 200 direct jobs to Thunder Bay. Also in March, Mark Carney became Canada's next Prime Minister. Justin Hardy spoke to the two local Liberal MPs about their new leader.
Mark Carney was elected leader of the Liberal Party on Sunday, positioning him to succeed Justin Trudeau as Canada's next Prime Minister. With over 151,000 party members voting, he won nearly 86% of the vote. Carney has a strong background in finance, having previously served as governor of both the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England. Thunder Bay Superior North MP Patty Haidu has pointed to his economic expertise as a valuable asset, particularly in light of financial challenges related to the U.S.
What I kept hearing repeatedly from voters of all different stripes is they felt really safe and comfortable with Mr. Carney's specific experience in economic turbulence. What they said was that they felt we needed a leader at this time that was more than three-word slogans, more than personal insults, but certainly had the depth of character and experience to meet the challenges head-on that we're seeing.
Carney is set to become Canada's 6th ever Prime Minister to take office while not holding a seat in the House of Commons. To officially become a sitting member of Parliament, he'll need to win either a by-election or a general election. Thunder Bay Rainy River MP Marcus Pulowski says he believes Carney's more than capable of handling the challenge of an election when it comes.
I've personally felt there's a great thirst in this country for the reasonable middle ground politically. I think people are tired of listening to the angry left and the angry right with their blowhorns and pushing to the extreme. I think people really want somebody who, as I say, occupies that reasonable middle ground. I think they want a person who's competent, a person with the education, the life experience.
Carney would call for a federal vote to be held on April 28th. We'll look back on the local election night results and more when TBT News Year in Review continues. Welcome back to TBT News Year in Review. In March and April, there was much speculation about a long-awaited Costco coming to Thunder Bay. City officials recommended council approve several zoning amendments for a large vacant property off Golf Links Road at Central Avenue.
So a mailed notice was sent out to residents within 120 meters of the subject site. There's also a sign posted on the site that has the meeting details. But for those listening, the meeting is going to be held at 6:30 p.m. at Council Chambers. So that's Monday, April 14th at 6:30 p.m. in Council Chambers. It's a public meeting in order for any comments to be heard from the public, the applicant, or whoever else wishes to speak at the public meeting. They can provide their comments on the application, and this is when Council will be taking a vote on the proposed rezoning as well.
The retail warehouse would be just over 15,000 square meters in size. The property developer, Forum, was seeking zoning amendments for the size of the building, the required landscaping, the driveway size, and the gas bar. This image shows the proposed building on the left, next to plans for a Costco outlet that was recently built in Oregon, and the two buildings are seemingly identical. But LaBelle said any confirmation that the project is actually a Costco would have to come from officials with Forum.
The tenant hasn't been told to us. However, it's really up to the owner if they want to disclose that information.
Okay, so there is a slight possibility if the owner would like to disclose that.
Correct, yeah, it's up to the owner, you're right.
I've also been asked to straight up ask, is this a Costco?
Unfortunately, as part of the application process, that information wasn't provided to us, so I just don't have that information to share.
The federal election was held on April 28th, and Thunder Bay voters chose to re-elect the two Liberal MPs. Justin Hardy was with Patty Haidu on election night.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
After a month-and-a-half-long campaign, incumbent Patty Haidu has secured her seat on behalf of Mark Carney's Liberals. With most of the polls in, Haidu came out of election night with over 25,000 votes, or about 52% of all ballots cast, followed by Conservative Bob Herman, who received 16,000. The NDP's Joy Wakefield received a little over 3,000 votes. Haidu spoke about how it felt to win her fourth straight federal election.
Just a huge thank you to Thunder Bay Superior North voters. Every conversation I had at the door was truly an opportunity for me to listen to people's concerns, to hear what their ambitions are, and to reflect on what we can do better together. And so I'm very grateful. Thunder Bay Superior North turned out. They resoundingly supported me, and I'm looking forward to continuing this journey together.
With 35.9% of the vote from the riding, Conservative Bob Herman was the runner-up in his first election bid. The former Thunder Bay police chief says while his team put on a good showing, Haidu just had a really well-oiled election machine.
I just hope that now that she understands that there is a mandate from this community based on the votes that she got and the votes that I got, that somewhere in the middle, she has to work for all the people in this community. If you look at what's happening nationally, we're going to be in a minority government situation, so there's a very good chance that we will be right back at this very soon.
Now that she's heading back to Ottawa, Haidu says her top priority will be to reflect the needs and desires of Thunder Bay Superior North. Justin Hardy, TBT News.
Meanwhile, in Thunder Bay Rainy River, Marcus Pulowski pulled out a close victory. Jonathan Wilson had that riding wrap-up.
Thank you, and we won!
Marcus Pulowski has won a third term in Parliament after taking home more than 19,000 votes and holding off a strong challenge from the Tories' Brendan Hyatt, who finished about 1,500 votes back. Pulowski says there was a lot on the line this election with the Trump tariffs, and he appreciates all the support from the voters.
I really want to thank people for voting for me. It's a tremendous privilege to be the Member of Parliament for Thunder Bay River, and I really mean that. No, we've got a fantastic riding, we've got a fantastic part of the country, and I really appreciate the vote of confidence for all those who voted for me and all the people who worked for me. I sincerely appreciate your help.
Hyatt was unwilling to concede defeat to Pulowski until late into the night, as he continually trailed by only about 1,000 votes or so as the polls kept coming in. He says this election loss won't stop him from trying again.
Thunder Bay Rainy River has spoken. They've elected a Liberal Party again. That's fine, but I think we can only go up from here, and I'm looking forward to continuing the race as it goes forward into the next series here. We've got an opportunity to build this party. I've been out there working hard for the last 18 months, and I'll continue to work hard. It's a minority government, and we know with minority governments, they don't always last the 4 years that the government's term is. So I look forward to hopefully contesting the riding in the next election.
Now, as he heads back to Ottawa, Pulowski says he's a much better politician than when he first switched from being an ER doctor to politics in 2019. And he had a special thanks for his young family for all their support.
And the price to be paid for a politician is the fact that you don't spend nearly as much time with your family as you ought to. So, that's why I'm acknowledging them, because they really did pay the price for this victory.
Jonathan Wilson, TBT News.
In early May, the demolition of the historic James Whalen tug began. Jessica Clement spoke with the Transportation Museum Group, which managed to save some pieces of the vessel.
The demolition of the historic James Whalen tug has been ramping up over the past few days, with crews from Marine Recycle Corporation taking apart the ship bit by bit. Last month, City Council awarded the $579,000 contract, which contained no provisions for salvaging any part of it. But now pieces of the vessel are about to be saved for a future display, according to Wally Peterson, chair of the Thunder Bay Transportation Museum. He says the museum has been in talks with the recycling company.
We've been in contact with Marine Salvage, and they're willing to allow us to get some of the parts of the James Whalen. We're going to be meeting with them next week when the owner comes into town so we can finalize what and how we're going to do it.
Jessica Clement, TBT News.
Thunder Bay City staff proposed some major changes to their parking policies in June after backlash from downtown businesses and Marina Park users. We'll have that story and more right after this short break. Welcome back. In early June, City Council approved giving local drivers 2 hours of complimentary parking at any meter on local streets and 4 hours at Marina Park. Jessica Clement had the details.
It's a great opportunity for us to fix and give back the community their parks and give back the downtown cores their customers so they can shop, eat, and enjoy.
The parking strategy changes were first recommended by city staff a month ago. The new bylaw allows 2 hours of free parking at street-metered spots with the option to purchase an additional 2 hours. Marina Park visitors will be eligible for up to 4 hours and can pay for an additional 4. Commissioner of Corporate Services Carrie Greaves stressed that along with the complimentary parking, the city would like residents to use the Passport parking app.
If you're shopping, if you're dining, and you can see on your phone that your parking spot is running out. It's a few clicks and you're back enjoying your day for up to another 2 hours.
I just have a tough time because there's no compromise in this. It's not $1 for 3 hours or $1 for 4 hours. Something that's very, very affordable, but people are got to get used to paying. It's just the rest of the world does. Either the user pays because they're going to go to these parks, or everybody pays.
I'm just not really convinced that we should be giving away free parking. Honestly, everywhere you go in the world, you have to pay for parking, except for Thunder Bay.
The parking change passed 9-2 and has already taken effect. Waterfront District BIA Executive Director Kara Pratt says local businesses will really benefit from the new rules.
I'm sure the retailers will see a difference because people will come down and just shop like they would, say, at a mall or something and not have to worry about paying for parking. Same with coffee shops. It could be a quick stop. And if somebody's picking up something very quickly, you don't have to worry about finding a spot.
Jessica Clement, TBT News.
At the end of June, city officials celebrated the start of construction on the new indoor turf facility. Ryan Graham was at the groundbreaking ceremony.
Pleased to host today as we mark this exciting milestone for our city.
Work is officially underway on Thunder Bay's long-awaited and long-debated indoor turf facility. The city hosted a groundbreaking event on Thursday on the site next to the community auditorium.
Today is about not only the celebration, but a day of gratitude for all those people who had the foresight, the belief, and the tenacity to see this project through. This will be a flagship centerpiece of our community, not only for health, but for well-being in general.
For community groups like Soccer Northwest that have been pushing for the facility for years, they're thrilled that their athletes will finally be able to hone their skills year-round.
Our youth have never had the opportunity to play in any type of environment that is similar to what they go away and play on. So when you were speaking in Minneapolis, when we play in Thunder Bay, we have such a small field, so we have to use less players, and we have boards. When we go out of town, there's more players on the field, and there are no boards. Our players are going to actually be able to train the way they play.
The facility is expected to be finished in October of 2026. Ryan Graham, TBT News.
Canada Day was a lot wilder than expected for many residents in Westfort when a suspected downburst toppled hundreds of trees. Crews were seen clearing road blockages near West Mary Street after the violent windstorm swept through the neighborhood at around 5 p.m. Over on Frederica Street West, multiple roofs were struck by fallen trees, several vehicles were damaged, and fences were destroyed during the storm, which reportedly only lasted a few short minutes. Jessica Fraser was enjoying Canada Day evening with her family when the storm arrived, and she explained what she saw.
We ran inside because it started raining and we were barbecuing, and then we looked out the back window and the trees were down. We didn't hear nothing really except for hail.
We live in Mountaindale, and we just heard like the storm was coming in, couple like lightning, and then the window was open, and then we just heard like a lot of wind coming in. It was like, oh, it's time to close the window. And then, it was massive. We were just watching a movie, 20 minutes, and then we came outside and all this disaster.
With the downburst, the winds are kind of spreading out. So you basically have this really strong downdraft. It hits the ground and the winds kind of go splat. And so when they shoot out in all directions, that's the strong winds that we experience at the surface. And so that's what we think we experienced yesterday in Thunder Bay.
After 3 months of back and forth on several different locations for the proposed homeless village, City Council made a final decision in late July. Justin Hardy had that story.
It was a long and winding road, but Council has now given final approval for a temporary shelter village. Not at the controversial Miles Street location that had already been approved in principle, but to what's known as the Hilliard site in a largely commercial area next to the off-leash dog park on 8th Avenue off of Central.
This is a compromise, right? This is not what everyone around the table wanted, but I think this will garner more than a 7-6 split, this decision. And in site selection, it's important. I mean, usually the best decisions are a blend of administrative and political knowledge.
There was very little public engagement on this site, with most of the blowback focused on the Miles Street location that Council was expected to ratify on Monday evening.
Do you really believe that this is the place to put the temporary housing near Victoria Avenue? And also near Shelter House, which is overburdened and in an area where alcohol and drugs are a problem.
Not even a last-minute amendment from Mayor Ken Boshkoff, directing city staff to review the effects of the village and report back in 2 years, could push the Miles Street location over the finish line.
I know that loud and clearly, 9 out of 10 people do not want it on this site, but there's something that must be done. And so I look forward to the debate, and let's see.
In the end, even Boshkoff himself voted down his amendment before Council turned its attention to Hilliard. It was approved 9-4 with Councillors Hamilton, Johnson, Folds, and Gertuga as the dissenting votes. Even some who voted in favor say they felt forced into the decision, given the risk of losing funding from senior levels of government.
I mean, the mover came with 4 pages typed out, ready for this argument, and I had zero clue this was coming. Normally we get a heads up or an amendment that, this is coming. And talk about moving too fast. I mean, that logic is just, it's my neck hurts because the whiplash on this.
I know that tomorrow we are going to be in a massive deficit of public trust over this decision, over this whole process. And I'm fine if council wants to go in and, it really feels like we're throwing spaghetti on a wall. We're just hoping to kind of get something done. In my mind, I can't support this.
The Hilliard site approval vote is now final, and the shelter village will be built there unless city staff discover previously undisclosed barriers to developing the property, or there are overwhelming objections from the public. Justin Hardy, TBT News.
In August, the local Alstom railcar plant got some big news, and the price tag for the Waterfront Art Gallery skyrocketed. Stay tuned for those stories when the TBT News Year in Review continues. Welcome back to TBT News Year in Review. In August, all 3 levels of government gave the Toronto Transit Commission the go-ahead to sole source a major subway contract directly to Alstom and the Thunder Bay plant. Jonathan Wilson had that story.
It's the announcement that officials in Thunder Bay have been waiting a long time to hear. The Toronto Transit Commission says it's been given the green light to sole source the Line 2 subway contract to Alstom. And that contract just got bigger as well. It was originally for 55 subway trains, consisting of 330 total cars, with a value of $2.2 billion. It's now been bumped to 70 trains and 420 cars.
And to see that all 3 levels of government again supported this and supported the sole sourcing as well as the TTC, this is great news. Great news for us. It's great news for Alstom. This is what the union's been lobbying for a couple of years now. And finally we had the announcement, and it's exactly kind of what we wanted to hear. It's Alstom got the contract.
This is fantastic news for Thunder Bay. It's fantastic news for all the people that work at Alstom.
The federal share of the funding for the contract was announced back in November, with Minister Chrystia Freeland saying she expected and would like to see the cars built in Thunder Bay. But there were no guarantees at that time that Alstom would even win the contract. The push to abandon a request for tenders and sole source the contract due to U.S. tariffs started with Ontario Transportation Minister Prabmeet Sarkaria in April. Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow agreed with that idea and then called on the federal government in June to get on board. Now that's official, but Pawlowski says this was always his government's intent.
There wasn't really any question as to whether the government supported this. I think they certainly do. Chrystia Freeland made that fantastic statement a number of months ago that those trains would be built right here in Thunder Bay. I think there is almost uniformity of opinion that we want as much of the work as possible done in Canada and in Thunder Bay, but you have to cross the T's, dot the I's, and get the legalities right, and that's what's taken a bit of time.
Jonathan Wilson, TBT News.
Also in August, the cost of building the new Thunder Bay Art Gallery ballooned again from $57 million to $75 million. Lee Noonan spoke to gallery officials about the situation.
The Thunder Bay Art Gallery has raised $52 million to pay for its new waterfront building, and in 2022, that would have been enough. They were projecting a cost of $50 million then. The next year, that was up to $57 million, and now they're looking at a price tag of $75 million. That's 50% more than the 2022 estimate and 127% more than the pre-COVID projection of $33 million.
Since 2019, construction costs have risen 60% across the board, and that's without considering the specificities of working in Northern Ontario.
Executive Director Matthew Hills says the gallery will be stepping up its fundraising and going to every level of government, looking for the $23 million they still need. They're also looking for cost efficiencies, potential partnerships, and alternative uses of the space.
One of the things that we're doing as a responsible not-for-profit organization is looking rigorously at different possibilities for getting this over the finish line.
In order to get the building weather-tight before winter sets in, they also need the City of Thunder Bay to release the $5 million it already committed to the project. Councillor Shelby Chung says she wasn't surprised by the cost increase and feels the city doesn't have much choice but to release the funds.
What we don't want to have happen is a half-built building and, everyone lose complete faith in the project.
The gallery is still hoping to open the new facility in early 2027, but that could mean a partial opening with only part of the building complete. Regardless, Hills says they are committed to seeing it through. Lee Noonan, TBT News.
In early September, the long-awaited demolition of Victoriaville was nearly 50% complete, with crews continuing to take down the big roof. Jessica Clement had the details.
The demolition of Victoriaville is well underway, and area residents can now start to picture what Victoria Avenue will look like once the revitalization project is finished. The full project will see the street reopened to motorists, with added bike lanes, widened sidewalks, and parking on the south side of Victoria Avenue. Capital Facilities Construction Manager Kelvin Jankowski says demolition crews are making good progress.
They're looking at about 5 to 6 weeks until they'll be fully complete demolition, which is about a week or so behind the initial projections. So run into a few things here and there, but for the most part it's been going well. The subcontractor is a seasoned demolition expert, so they have specialized demolition equipment. They know how to remove this stuff safely, so we're fairly confident that we'll continue along this line for the next 5 to 6 weeks.
Jankowski estimates the demolition work is about 50% done. Crews are currently working on removing the skywalk and the higher sections of the roof. Once the structure is demolished, Jankowski says they'll start doing some groundwork.
Some removals, some more demolition to make sure there's proper drainage for the winter, but the road work itself and the underlying services won't commence likely until spring next year.
There are still numerous businesses open around the demolition area, including Sweet Cherry Spa. Owner Scotia Copey's window is right next to where the deconstruction is taking place, and she says luckily the work hasn't affected her business too much.
Just gets a little loud sometimes, but within a working day, like they have to take breaks and stuff too, so they kind of make a lot of noise for maybe an hour and a bit, and then they go for a smoke break or something. Then it's quiet for a little bit, so it's on and off. It's not just like constant, which is nice.
Copey notes that she and other area business owners are excited for the South Core revitalization project.
I'm very happy and excited to have garden boxes and be able to see people and maybe not have to take so much vitamin D pills in the wintertime when I don't go to work in the dark and leave in the dark. So,
Jessica Clement, TBT News.
In early October, the controversial designated truck route took effect. We'll have that story and more right after this short break. Welcome back to TBT News Year in Review. Businesses on Highway 102 and Dawson Road were seeing a major decrease in heavy truck traffic in early October due to the city's new designated truck route. Jessica Clement had the details.
The designated truck route, which diverts heavy truck traffic off of Dawson Road and West Arthur Street and onto the Trans-Canada Highway through Kekabeka Falls, was implemented almost a week ago. And businesses along Highway 102 have already seen a significant difference.
The first couple of days, obviously, because the billboards haven't been up, we didn't notice very much. But over the course of this past week, we've definitely noticed quite a difference. Coming out here today, there wasn't a single truck that I noticed, whereas we would see like a dozen in about an hour.
Just down the road from Wildwood, employees at Dawson General Store are noticing a similar decline.
We have noticed that it has been quite a bit less transport truck travel. Not necessarily like slower traffic, just less big trucks. And everybody's hopes and dreams are that all the roads are safer. So fingers crossed, and we are hoping it's the best decision for everyone.
The city's weight limit and designated truck route signs are already up and can be seen on the Thunder Bay Expressway and Harbour Expressway. 2 billboards near Sistonen's Corner are also expected to be up soon. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
Meanwhile, residents in Kekabeka Falls were raising concerns over a surge in heavy trucks passing through their village due to the DTR. Jaden Billick had that story.
Following the new DTR bylaw that took effect last Wednesday, transport truck drivers have been rerouted exclusively to Highway 1117 to make Dawson Road and Arthur Street safer. However, Kekabeka Falls locals and leaders alike say the sudden increase has been a shock, with Oliver Papunj Mayor Lucy Klusterhuis estimating the amount of heavy truck traffic has nearly doubled in a short period of time through Kekabeka.
Oh, it's really affected the village itself and the people that live on the highway. There's a real concern with the school. The school is right on the highway here in the village. I have honestly had nightmares thinking about the buses that are going to be stopping, that do stop on the highway to pick up children and drop them off. It's also affected the seniors. We have the north side of the village, we have 3 senior residence homes, and they tried to get across the highway.
Locals here are already seeing the impacts of increased transport truck volumes, from longer waits to cross the risky 4-lane street to growing concerns in residential areas around the village itself. Kekabeka Depot owner Brandon Postema has had a front row view of the change in truck traffic.
We're starting to see just overall trucks speeding through the village, and unfortunately for us, it's single lane on both sides of the village and then double lane when you get into the village, so people are using that opportunity to pass each other and try and get in front. So everyone's gonna have to band together and really find out a way to make this community safe, because as you can see, this is the slow time of day, but the trucks are coming through, and you'll often see they're trying to pass each other, and it's pretty scary.
Jaden Billick, TBT News.
In November, the president of TBT and the mayor announced a sponsorship deal for the indoor turf project and the new facility's name, the TBT Multiplex. Ryan Graham was there.
Under the agreement, TBT will contribute $50,000 per year over 10 years, totaling $500,000 for the naming rights. In addition, TBT will also be contributing $4.5 million in dividends into the Renew Thunder Bay Reserve Fund to help further support construction. The facility is designed to provide residents of all ages with year-round access to high-quality recreation, competition, and community programming. TBT President Paul Norris was excited to make the announcement.
This is a thrilling investment opportunity for TBT. We believe so much in this community, in families in this community, and a facility like this is just going to be a generational investment that's going to bring recreation, not just for kids, but for every age group into Thunder Bay. And what a wonderful investment, what a wonderful opportunity for TBT.
Construction on the $38 million building is still at the foundation stage. The work will continue all winter, spring, and summer, with a grand opening for the TBT Multiplex expected in the fall of 2026. Ryan Graham, TBT News.
The city was getting mixed reviews in November regarding its plans for the development of 4 large multi-residential projects around the city. Jessica Clement had that story.
As the city considers the creation of 4 large-scale multi-residential developments around Thunder Bay, they're gathering feedback from area residents. Community members stopped by City Hall Wednesday afternoon to learn more about the developments. There's a potential for 2 buildings and 400 units on Tokyo Street, 3 buildings and 600 units on Arundel, 1 200-unit building on Fanshawe, and a parcel of land between Tupper and Camelot Streets for up to 185 units.
I would say that the feedback we're getting is mixed. People obviously have concerns to express. Change is in your neighborhood is personal, and we are here to hear those concerns.
These new developments are expected to help the city meet its Housing Accelerator Fund targets, with a possibility of over 1,300 units available between the 4 properties. However, many residents near the Arundel proposal are concerned about the increased traffic and losing green space.
The value of my house could depreciate immensely if we lose the green belt. Buffer zone right behind us, so I'm here because I'm concerned. It's the only investment I've got. Like most people that live there, it's your home. That's everybody, I think. It's your home that you invest in.
The properties still need to be voted on to declare them surplus. The city's Growth Standing Committee is being asked on December 1st to endorse the proposal. It will then go to City Council for the final decision.
What we do is we take all that feedback and we package up for council so they can make an informed decision when we recommend declaring land surplus. I'm also hearing good things about density and needing more homes, so I'm excited on both sides that people are just participating in the process.
Jessica Clement, TBT News.
The start of December saw city residents find out more about the temporary shelter village project. City officials and members of the design team held an open house to provide some answers. Jessica Clement was there.
There are varying opinions on Thunder Bay's temporary shelter village. Some don't think it'll solve the city's housing issues. Some wanted it built sooner. But many who turned out to the information session at the complex over the weekend said they didn't know enough about it and didn't want to appear on camera to discuss it. The city's encampment response supervisor, Whalen, says that's why it was important to give people a chance to learn more.
I've had a lot of good chats about safety and security, and I think just folks are happy that we've done an event like this.
Architect Corey Stetchison is part of the design team. He agrees that most of the people he spoke with are concerned about safety.
They're interested in seeing some separation distance around the development, which there is a natural tree buffer being retained around the site.
As for the look of the village, design team member Anthony McRae says people gave generally positive comments.
I think people that are coming through today are excited about the way the village looks, the design, the hard work that's gone into that. It's been pretty positive so far throughout everyone coming through, and obviously, everyone has different opinions, but I think all in all, the general consensus is, most people are excited to see this go through and something being done about community safety.
Site preparation for the 80-unit project on Hilliard lands north of Central Avenue is underway. The shelter village is expected to be finished next spring. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
Thunder Bay's new tennis bubble was fully inflated on December 8th. Crews at Chapels Park were then moving on to the indoor work, with the Rogers Tennis Dome set to be completed sometime during the holidays. Tennis director Jamie Grieve said after months of delays, he was very happy to see the project reach this important stage.
Really exciting. There's been a long haul, even just expecting that it was going to go up possibly earlier in the summer and then delayed to October. And now, voila, there it is. Firstly, there's still a lot of stuff going on. They have to put all the lighting, hang all the lighting inside. It's an insulated dome, so they have to run insulation between the 2 walls of the dome. And then after that, they have to hang curtains, backdrops, all these things. So I think they were saying it was going to take a couple of weeks. So whether or not getting it before Christmas is still an option, I have no idea. But we'll hope for the best.
Thank you for joining us for this recap of the top stories of 2025. TBT News will continue to bring you all the major news events in our region in the year ahead. We hope you'll tune in, but for now, we're wishing you all the best in 2026.